Hello everyone, my name is Chibadi Sofraziskampazo. I am a youth and health advocate. I'm an MC and event host. I'm also a model, a writer, and a poetess. So I'm basically an all-rounder when it comes to the arts and also advocacy work. So I always feel like I was thrown into the space. That's what I like calling it. I was just like thrown into the space. So what happened is I started in 2020. I think at the time I was around 17. There's this other organization that I knew. It's the National Council of Disabled Persons of Zimbabwe. So there was a program that they had at some point, and I attended that. And then I think a couple of months later, I now get a call from the National AIDS Council in Makandeni district office. They were saying, oh, we were referred to you by NCTPZ, one young person is going to come in and represent young people with disabilities in the YPN. So that's pretty much when it started. So I joined the Young People's Network on Health and Wellbeing, formerly Young People's Network on Sexual Reproductive Health, HIV and AIDS. So that was in 2020. Then in 2021, I saw a call for applications for the Amplifying Girls' Voices through Digital Arts project that is being implemented by INTWASA and sponsored by Plan International. So I also applied for that one, and that's when it really started, like the whole work. And also because now I'm already in the space, I'm seeing that okay, so there are a lot of issues that we can talk about, and now I'm starting to notice a lot of things, because I feel like if you're just an ordinary individual, or maybe you're not even an advocate, you don't really notice the social issues and the problems that are there, and unless and until you actually get into the space and you understand that, oh, these are the issues that are there. So that's really how it started, and with time I really grew to love it. I fell in love with the whole work, the whole purpose of why we do what we do. So well, that's basically pretty much my advocacy journey. I think it grew onto me, although I would say that I used to write a lot of poetry before advocacy. So during high school, I used to do debates and public speaking. And then was the time when I went with the speech to the club, and they were like, "No, your speeches have too much rhyme. Why don't you try poetry?" And I started writing poetry, and I feel in my poetry I did address social issues, which might have made me an advocate, but I feel they're also a bit shallow. So with advocacy, I guess I just embraced something that I never knew I was. So let me just say that I was an advocate initially, and I never knew how much of an advocate I was till I was just thrown into the space. So yeah. I feel like I would have a couple of stories to share, but I think for me, the most enlightening moment of when I did see that, okay, so my work is paying off, I would literally meet people and they'll say, "Oh, we know you do this and this, I'm so inspired." It was just like the messages from the young women that I would meet randomly, young women, some that I knew, some that I did not know, who told me of all of these things that they've been seeing me doing, and saying, I remember at some point there was someone said, okay, I was never interested in advocacy, but because you do advocacy, I also want to do it. And, I think for me, it was really a turnaround moment to say, oh, okay, so, this is what I'm doing. Okay, it's nice. It's good to know, It's always a good, it's always consolation because of all of these challenges that we face in the space. So when you know that there is someone out there who looks up to you, who is inspired by your work, it's just, it gives you purpose, it keeps you going, you keep on keeping on, because you know that, okay, I'm not doing it just for me, but also for all those other women or the other young women that I carry on my shoulders, indirect. I never asked to carry them on my shoulders, and now I feel obligated to do something because of all of those inspiring messages and stories that you get. I feel like the biggest challenge wasn't really disability, it was being a woman. Right? Because I feel like advocacy has been a very male-dominated space for the longest time. So when you're a woman and you're trying to make your way, because advocacy ultimately is more of leadership in a sense, right? There's a lot of leading that you do, and mostly, in our traditional society, leadership roles were for men. So as a woman, it was hard. the disability obviously makes it harder, but I feel like being a woman is like literally the hardest thing, because you need to make people believe in your vision, right? Even if you don't believe in it yourself, because most of the time, even if you're a leader or a party leader, it's not all the time when you believe in yourself, then you just go on and do something. But usually there are people who believe in you and put you in those spaces. But then at some point you need to make sure that you actually believe in your vision. So I feel like the lack of self-belief, especially from people, oh, she's a girl, can she do this? No, we don't think she can. There's so many things that you need to do. Oh, girls are so emotional, so how will you be able to make decisions? Girls can't work half as hard as men do. Or if you're a girl, you need to be home early, and sometimes our events end late. So those many challenges. And also being a woman also comes with a lot of harassment, if I can say. You're in a male dominated space, you meet male and men all the time. At some point you're gonna meet someone who's gonna say, oh, if you're not be my girlfriend, I can put in a good bed for you, wherever, and stuff like that. So there's also a lot of harassment as well that comes with just being in the space. And then when it comes to disability, I always feel like if you're an advocate with a disability, usually it plays in your favor, right? So I remember at some point we had this other training and we had like a wheel of privilege. And I remember when people were critiquing, they talked about how sometimes, especially nowadays, when you've got a disability, you stand to get a seat at the table because it's one of the communities or the groups of people that have been marginalized for so long, right? And now society is really opening up. They want to listen, they want to understand. So I feel like, in as much as of course we can say it's a disadvantage, but it also plays in your favor, because you now can get into a room and people listen to you. I always say I was grateful for being who I am, because I know I can get into a room, and even if I don't speak, people will know I was there, because I'm always the lightest. So they're like, oh no, that girl, type of thing. So it's always looking at the light. The brighter side of things isn't every cloud is a silver lining, they say. So that. I really I feel like it's so important to be authentic. I have always believed in authenticity. You need to be yourself, because I feel when you are yourself, the world is more receptive, right? Than when you try to be something that you're not. So you always try to be yourself. And then also you need to make sure that you keep on growing, because as humans, if I can say, what we do is we need to keep on learning and learning and learning. We're nothing without learning. So you keep on growing, you keep on being better. If there are things that you feel you're not doing well, you're not doing right, you make sure you go out of your way and ensure that you work on all of those things. There are a lot of things, or there's this women that we see ourselves as in our heads, right? So if you wanna get to where you wanna be, you need to be this individual who's always open to learning, always open to constructive criticism as well, because we're not an island. There are people who have, who've walked the walk and talked the talk. So I feel also you should be really receptive. And also another thing, your image is very important. I feel like your name is one of the most valuable assets that you have. It shouldn't be the money or the front house that you own or the expensive shoes and bags that you have, but it should be your name. So always ensure that you make sure that you've got a clean name, you've got a good reputation, because a good name will always open doors for you. But well, the bad name, not so much. So that's what I can say. My goals for the future. So for me, I feel like it's necessary to grow. The whole point of us being where we are is because of growth journey. So I feel like at some point my goal is to outgrow the spaces that I'm currently in, because obviously I'm getting older. So move into new spaces, pursue my education further. So currently I'm studying towards a degree, so hopefully go for my master's, go for my PhD, and you'll be saying doctor, and stuff like that. And also to especially when it comes to the arts, I really hope that at some point in my career I can be one of the, what do they call them, renowned artists, right? Yes. So that's one of my goals pretty much. And also ensuring that I continue being the best version of myself, which is about the biggest. And One of my greatest goals is to always live up to my name. So my name is Chiladi. So it's a Shona name, which when you translate to English means something that you're proud of or take pride in. So I feel like for me, I always want to live up to that. You know, that standard that my parents set. Definitely.